Hey, it's Laura.
It's Amanda.
And we are Moms on a Mission,
where faith, motherhood, and purpose come together.
We're not just raising children, we're raising disciples, striving to make an eternal impact in our homes and beyond.
Here, we choose grace over guilt, progress over perfection, and God's truth over the world's noise.
Together, we'll encourage, uplift, and equip one another to walk boldly in our calling as mothers on a mission.
So, grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's dive into this journey of faith-filled motherhood, one step, one prayer, and one mission at a time. All right. Are we getting this thing kicked off?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Moms on a Mission. This is episode 1 of Moms on a Mission. And we are super thrilled to be finally getting this off of the ground. My name is Amanda Fulmer.
I am Laura Anderson.
And we are getting ready to record episode 1.
Here we are. What was it last week when I said I keep having this vision of us finally sitting here and sitting down and looking at each other and going, here we are.
We made
it.
So my kids have a joke. They say, here I am, because it's so prevalent all throughout the Bible in the Old Testament, where so many characters, will say, especially, I guess it's in Moses, where, God will call out to him and he'll say, here I am. And
I love that.
And so here we are. We have made it to episode 1 of Moms on a Mission. So our idea behind doing this podcast is to talk to the issue of mom guilt. Moms have this way of feeling guilty about everything they do and everything that they don't do. And then when they do it, or if they don't do it, it's still all a very heavy load. And we want to address that. And we want to talk about momhood, and we want to talk about raising kids in our current culture. And we are just super excited to really be able to address this crowd of women who are most likely juggling a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Going through a lot of things all at once. And we are all doing it. And so we're not alone. And we want to talk about that. We want to address it. And we want to really bring God and the Bible and Christianity into our stories and really speak to raising families in a Christian way, but in our current culture.
Yeah, because I don't know how many times I've been asked, what's your podcast going to be about?
I know. I'm like, how much time do you have?
Yeah. My answer across the board has just been faith-based mom stuff.
Yes, I love it. That's way better than my 50,000 word explanation.
Faith-based mom stuff is just what rolls off the tongue. And I think that we are really going to strive to know who God is and simultaneously make God known.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that.
And so I think that's, the big reason behind it. Diving in from what I guess is really considered to be, the hot take of how we're raising our kids and trying to stand out and be different. We don't want to fit into the cultural norms. We want to be different.
Yep.
And I think we'll be able to do that. The namesake, if you want to touch on that, Moms on a Mission, is what we settled on after really going back and forth with wanting to be called guilty moms until we heard the quote from Dr. Amen that said, guilty moms raise confused kids and confident moms raise confident kids.
Yes, that really struck a chord. Laura, you told me about that. And I was like, it was kind of a gut punch because we'd been talking about doing this podcast and naming it, Guilty Mom. And I had been writing, ideas and all of these different things are all around this idea of guilty moms. And because, like I said, I feel like we're guilty if we do and guilty if we don't. And then when you told me that quote, I was like, oh, it was like a realization to me about my own life and about, what kind of message am I sending my kids? And so that kind of really changed the trajectory at that point. We changed the name and to Moms on a Mission, because we're on a mission to not raise guilty kids and not be guilty about motherhood.
No, we're on a mission, and I love that. I see it every morning when I drop off my kids at school. The sign leaving the facility says, "You are now entering the mission field."
Oh, love that.
So I just thought, we're a couple moms that are truly on a mission to point our kids towards the kingdom. I've heard numerous times, the only thing that you can take with you to heaven is other people. So we definitely want to take our kids with us, but hopefully this podcast will get us to bring some other folks with us too.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, talking to moms about, okay, this is great and all, we want our kids to be in church and we want to teach them, about Christianity, about God, but what does that really look like in the reality of like, well, my kids won't come to church, or my kids don't, they're not interested in that. Or, maybe they've learned things at school that, are really combating what you're telling them at home. I mean, there's all these things that come with that. So that's why we're here, when we want to talk about that stuff and really dig into that and break it down. And, what are we experiencing with our families? And Laura and I are both very involved in different projects in our community. And so we are around different people with different, views, and especially women. We're a part of a group called Stronger Together Momco, and we get to be in a room with a lot of ladies, a lot. And so we get to kind of hear different perspectives and different things that are going on. So that's a really great thing too. We kind of, it's not just us. We're getting an idea of, what other families are also experiencing raising their kids.
Yep. And just to piggyback off of what you said, community is so important. We're very involved in the church, both of us.
Yep.
With anything and everything that we can be a part of as volunteers.
We don't know the word no very well.
Except
when it comes to our
no.
kids. We know that one pretty good with the kids.
You're right about that. You're right about that. And it's just one of the most profound things that I am a firm believer in is show me your 5 best friends and I'll show you your future.
Ooh.
Because who you hang around matters. And if you don't have shared beliefs, if your family priorities don't align, it's no offense, but I'm not interested in having you in my circle.
Right.
And I think that this is why you and I mesh so well. Our kids, we're boy moms.
Yep. Both of us.
Which we love, but we prioritize church. We honor our husbands and respect. We respect them. We respect each other. We have boundaries in place that we're just firm believers in. And I think that getting to share this is just going to, we're doing it for the glory of God.
Yep.
First and foremost. And just to try to show that this is cool. The way that we live and the way that we're raising our kids and what we believe is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's okay.
It's very okay
to feel this way, to raise kids this way. There's a lot of people who are wanting to do the same or are doing the same. And if you don't have that community around you, this is our message to you to find them.
Yes.
They're there. So I want to kind of dig into that quote a little bit more. That you tell me the name of the doctor that gave the quote again.
Dr. Amen.
Dr. Amen. Okay, so you heard this on another podcast, and that quote really resonated with you. Tell us the quote one more time, because I don't have it written exactly.
So I heard it on the Whoa, That's Good podcast, which is by Sadie Robertson Huff.
Yes. Okay.
The Duck Dynasty Robertson family. And it is guilty moms raise confused kids,
mm-hmm.
and confident moms raise confident kids.
Okay. So when I first heard that, I was like, okay, I mean, cool. But then like the more, and listen, ladies, this is going to take a couple days to really sink in if you're anything like me, because I'm like, I just kept playing that over and over in my mind. And I'm thinking, well, like, what does that even mean? I mean, yes, I feel guilty about stuff, but okay, so let's think about that a little further. When I'm feeling guilty about something, I might say, okay, perfect example is I work. I don't work. I don't have like a typical like 9 to 5. I don't have to go into an office, but I do work. I work from home, and you have the same kind of thing. You have
Yes, I
a
do.
lot of things that you do, to contribute, and part of we do things for the family, but we also do things to try to help contribute monetarily. That doesn't mean that we go into an office. Okay, so I'm thinking this is a perfect example of how I feel when I work in front of my kids. Okay, so we, like you guys, have a camper. And we said, okay, this is great. We can work. We can take the kids camping, but we can also work, right? Because we like have like home offices and we can work remotely through computers. And then, I would catch myself. We'd be camping. I'm like, oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I've got to work a little bit today, and I'm apologizing to them. I'm so sorry. We've got to work, and then it hit me when I heard that quote. I was like, that's exactly what that doctor is talking about. He's saying, why would you apologize for working and helping to provide for the family when you are being able to take the kids camping and doing it at the same time, working and camping at the same time? That's not a bad thing. That's a gift. I mean, we have to be careful about it. You don't want to spend your whole time on the computer and like, what? I was there,
Just working in a different location.
Exactly. You want to, but that's the whole thing of like, there are things that have to be done, and we don't necessarily have to feel bad about that, right? Like we have to help provide. We have to, help in our home. We have to help with other family members. So, and that shouldn't be an area of apology, because those are things that have to be done. And we want to be confident in those things of like, we get to do these things. They are obligations for us. But they're not necessarily something that, is something that should be a bad thing. So that's kind of, we really wanted to kind of run with that on this podcast of this mom guilt thing. Maybe it's not, maybe we need to kind of flip the script on it and really think about it in a different way. Are we feeling guilty about things that we should be feeling guilty about? Or are we just making it a really big mess of confusion for our kids when we do one thing, but apologize and,
For another.
yeah.
No, and I feel that too, because we also get to work from vacation spots. We don't have to. We get to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real thing that the guilt sets in. And then I think that I don't want to just utter the words, sorry for doing this, sorry for doing that. I want to save my I'm sorries for like true repentance with them. When I make a mistake, own up to it, look them in the eyes, tell them I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never I'm sorry, but it's I'm sorry and, which we're real big proponents of, because I feel like once you say but, everything you said before, that's irrelevant.
Right.
So you say, I'm sorry and I'll do better. I'm sorry and I'll prioritize this or that. But I think apologizing to your kids really shows them when you get it wrong, and being able to ask for forgiveness for your mistakes, and just being very transparent with them. And I don't think that working in their presence is a mistake.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a gift. I'm so glad that I don't have to sit in a cubicle from 8 to 5 every day.
Yeah.
Just getting to travel and I mean, we like camping just like you guys do.
Yeah.
But it does come with maybe shooting back a few emails here and there.
Right.
taking a phone call. And I don't think that that's worth apologizing for. Maybe excuse me and go and handle it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take away from the validation of issuing a sincere apology over something like this. But I also feel like, too, you're going to let it linger in and bother you for as long as you let it.
Yeah.
And if you can get past that, easier said than done, of course.
Yeah.
But, I really think that, excuse me, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this phone call. I'm going to shoot back this email, and then we'll just pick back up where we're at.
Yeah.
And just remember to give yourself a little extra grace. It's not always easy, but it is always necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so that's kind of where we want to go with, in doing this podcast and, talking amongst each other and with other moms and other women, this is a whole different idea of, mom guilt. Is it valid? And, what can we do about it to change how we feel personally, but also what we are showing and giving, what kind of message are we teaching our kids? I say this, but, I feel guilty about it and I do this, or, we want to make the message clear. We want to help other moms feel the same. We want to, let other mamas know that they're not alone and their areas of guilt and problems are, we all have them, but maybe a different perspective will help, kind of open up your mind and think like, no, we're all experiencing it. We're all going through this stuff together. And maybe it's not a valid guilt at all. Maybe it's this is awesome. This could be an awesome thing. So we want to help everybody, kind of really raise their kids and move on and up in the most positive way possible. So, but we need to kind of back up a little bit because we have not talked about ourselves at all. We need to tell these folks who they're listening to.
So you and I have known each other for a couple of years now.
Yes.
And we met, I guess, in the real estate world.
Yeah, maybe.
I think is where we met.
I feel like we connected it at church, though. Like,
absolutely.
That was kind of where we really
did a real estate transaction together somewhere along the way, but really connected at church.
Really?
I think so.
What?
If I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. Or maybe it was a roofing thing with Josh.
Oh, yes, it was.
That's what it was.
It was a roofing thing, yes. So your dear husband came to my house and replaced my roof, and he was there for a couple of days with his crew, and they did an amazing job. And then from there, we found each other at the same church. Yep. And we were like, oh, we live in the same community and we're close. And come to find out, we even know the same people from like way back in high school.
We do. We do. Because we're not Habersham natives.
No. And our hearts have been connected for years and years. We just didn't know it.
I'm so glad that we do now.
So you mentioned Habersham. So we are both from Habersham County, Georgia. We are Northeast Georgia mountain girls now, even though we're not from here.
We're not from here. Nope. I'm from Gwinnett.
Yes, I'm from Gwinnett too, but we didn't go to the same school.
Nope. I was in the Brookwood cluster, but grew up in Lilburn, Lawrenceville, Snellville.
Yeah.
And met Josh when we were in law enforcement in 2009 and started dating. Bought our first house in Flowery Branch in 2011. When we got out of law enforcement for good in 2016, he said, "Where do you want to go?"
Oh.
And we'd always come up here to visit his parents when we were dating and all that. Prior to meeting Josh, I didn't even know where Habersham County was. When he told me that he was from Habersham, I said, "Where's that?"
You're like, what?
And he was like, "It's just north of here." I said, "Okay, well, I don't think I've ever been north of the Lanier Islands exit off of 985.
Yeah. Beautiful lake.
Oh, love it. but came up here and I just fell in love with the area.
Mm-hmm.
So when we hung it up for good, he said, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "I want to go to Habersham."
Yeah.
And so we've been up here for 8 years now. And we've got 2 boys and very involved at the Torch. You know, it's home away from home.
Yep.
And I love
Torch
it.
is our church that we go to.
Yes.
Bigger church, bigger in our big church in our community. Not, big mega, but large. We have 3 different campuses and lots of ways of getting involved. And our mission there is really, really focused around kids.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of where we really get to, kind of feel that pull to the particular church that we go to. Is they have a really big focus on kids and their futures and, what our next generation looks like. So I think that's something too that connects us.
And they do a fantastic job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So you and Matt?
Yes. So I am Amanda Fulmer. I am a mom of 2 boys. Live here in the Northeast Georgia mountains. My boys are 11 years old and 8 years old. So almost exactly 3 years apart, like 5 days, 3 years and 5 days apart. Everybody always has a joke about that. Anyways.
We're 5.5 years apart. And I always say that, at 5.5 years apart, I know that they will just get along so well and never argue. And I was so wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Do siblings not argue? I don't know, because I'm an only child.
I grew up as an only child. I have a sister. She's 14 years older than I am, but we never lived together. So I grew up as an only child.
Okay. Well, same here. I have a stepbrother and he, but we were never in the same house. And so now we're we've always been pretty close, but never ended up wrestling on the floor type of thing. Because we never lived together. So yeah. So I guess in that way, maybe siblings don't fight.
Yeah. If you got a big age gap.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, I am very involved at the Torch. I'm a real estate agent and also trying to be an author.
An author.
Well, okay, so I published a journal, self-published a journal a few weeks ago, and it's, get this will be a shocker, it's for moms. And it is called Don't Forget to Remember, a prompt journal for moms who don't have time to journal. And so my whole thing, as a busy mom is like, I want to remember these moments, but I just don't have time to journal. And so I created this journal for mamas who maybe felt the same way. There's, few little prompts that at the end of the day, write down, maybe the kid said something funny. Maybe you had a great experience with your spouse. Maybe God spoke a word to you that you just like, oh, love that, So I made the journal, and that's my first publication. I'm working on another book though, which is something that we want to actually try to incorporate into the podcast a little bit. It is called, I write a newsletter, and it's called Wealthy Kids Academy. And from it, I have created this book, creating a book. And it teaches families how to pass on financial knowledge to their next generation.
Which we need.
Again, another mom-focused thing, just very basic financial education. But at what age do we do that for our kids? What should we be doing, ourselves to really help our kids? And what should we be teaching them? Because it's not really a big subject at school. That they dig in a little. They learn money itself. Change, dollar bills, things like that. But there's not necessarily this whole okay, but what does investing mean? How do we invest? And there's certainly no classes for parents of, what should we be doing for the kids now?
Right.
How can we build them a great future? And so I really wanted to focus on things like that and just have, give a rundown of, what does this look like for families and how do mamas really take this on but make it easy and doable. So that's my passion project.
Yes. You're passionate about kids and financial literacy, and
yes,
I'm real big on kids in sports.
Yes,
And
she's an excellent photographer, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Beautiful photographer.
I have a mentor that I follow in the church as well that does great work. Very inspired. Appreciate him very much, and it's one of the things that I just love. I love kids and sports, and taking pictures of them is like my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, that's awesome, and they're awesome. They're very unique.
They're different.
They're different. I don't mean unique in a bad way either. I genuinely mean they're unique and awesome.
The term that there is being tossed around now is sportraits.
Oh,
they're sportraits.
That's cool.
So they're action shots that are actually still shots that are made to look like action shots, but incorporate all these cool effects.
Yeah,
smoke and color and everything. And I'm asked often, do you do this in Photoshop? And I'm like, no, this is all set up and done in camera.
Yeah.
It's a whole process. So, but we love it. I really enjoy it. But I think that this project is going to be able to tie in our passions and turn them to, tie in the religious aspect of it and the importance. Because you can get the financial thing really wrong, and you can get the participation in sports over church attendance really wrong.
Yeah.
And so those are just two things that you and I are very passionate about that I'm sure we will cover at great length.
Well, I think we're passionate about a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
As we have gone through this talk, I'm like, man, we could talk for days.
Yes, we could.
We have so many things. So if there's some mom guilt out there about having, a lot of passions and a lot of things going on, you're not alone, sister.
You are not alone. We're not rowing in this boat by ourselves.
No, it's one crazy, really full boat. So, but yes. So we really did. We just kind of wanted you guys to get to know us too. So before we started recording, we were actually talking about like, okay, where do we come to this idea of, podcasting? And I think it's kind of cool that we both find ourselves quite comfortable in company that is you said you're really comfortable around kids. I'm comfortable around young kids. You teenage folks, you kind of intimidate me.
They're relentless.
But young kids, all day long, especially a group of boys. I'm all in. And then I also am like, I'm just one of those girls who I can be in a room full of dudes and I am totally fine. I feel comfortable. I'm not, self-conscious. I can talk to a bunch of guys. It doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter how many. I'm totally comfortable. Put me in a room full of ladies and I'm like, I'm
scared.
Yeah. I like close up. I act, crazy. And I'm like, this is so silly. And so in the last couple of years, as I've really, I'm coming up on 40. And
you and me both, sister.
Yeah. And so I'm like, well, first of all, it's been years since, anybody's been okay with hanging out in a room full of guys. Like you can't do that. That's frowned upon. It's not college anymore where you're all just buddies and friends. We're all married. We've all got responsibilities. Like, your best friend can't be a guy anymore. Beside your husband, I mean, he's definitely my best friend, but
my best friend
all of his friends, like, no, they're his friends.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us ladies kind of experience that is like, there's like this period of like, I've been at home, I've been raising kids, I've been doing my thing, where are my friends at? Who, who's my community going to be? And at this stage in life, it's either family or a group of ladies. It's got to be. And so I've kind of stepped out of my comfort zone and I was asked to help lead this mom group at our church. And I wasn't the one that thought of it. I was just asked to bring on or, come in as almost like a board member to kind of kick it off and get started. And so it's been such a cool experience. I have been in a room full of women, beautiful, amazing, strong women who are experiencing all of these different parts of life. Some of them have newborns. Some of them are pregnant. Some of them have grown children that are out of the house. Some of them are, right in the trenches. Some of them have things going on, in their families. Some of them are on a mountaintop. Some of them are in the valley. It's just this huge mix of these beautiful women and families and personalities. And we're all going through this motherhood, different areas of motherhood. And so, it's been this really amazing experience, again, like stepping out of my comfort zone, but at the same time, just really kind of seeing like, you've got to dig in, and but there is this place where community can be. And I have found great friends. I mean, I have connected with you on a friend level, and I've connected with, some other women. I just went on a trip with a friend, a woman friend, never done that before.
Was this to Denver?
Yes, I went to Denver.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I've never really traveled, with just a girlfriend before. That was a blast. So it's just this really cool time of, of being in this new area of, this is my community. These are my girls. These are who I want to be around me. I want to help surround them. I want them to help surround me. And it's been cool. And so from that, I just think it's awesome. We're going to be able to extend this to an even bigger crowd of, you're not alone. We're all going through these things. And you're a part of the Mom Code group too.
I got to go last night for the first time.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed it. Sat at a table with a group of people that I did not know at all. But they were wonderful. You're not made to do life alone.
Right.
So you've got to find your community. You've got to find your friends. And there's even I think there's even an importance of making sure that you guys align with your values. Like we touched on this earlier before, moving forward, you want to make sure that you guys are on board with not disciplining your children in the same way, but disciplining your children, for the same things, maybe. And, respecting boundaries amongst spouses is huge for us.
Yeah.
If it's work related, I understand that, but, not creating or engaging in a conversation through text messages or anything like that with other people's spouses.
Right. Yeah.
Real big on, like, if you're going to create a conversation, you throw the other spouse in there, which Josh absolutely hates.
He's like, please don't put me in the middle.
Group text. Does not like it at all.
Listen, when you become a part of all these groups, these group texts, they get for real.
Yeah. Yeah. We have one for small group. And he just kind of is understood that he has to be in there. But, you can create a group and you'll see, so-and-so has left the group.
Yeah.
That's Josh.
Yeah.
He's leaving the group text. It's just not his thing. But yeah, I think that it's just so important to have the fellowship with the ladies.
Yeah.
And I was kind of with you last, like walking in, new environment. It's my home church. I go into that sanctuary a couple times a week.
Right.
But walking in with decorated tables and just a room full of women that I don't know.
Yeah.
Clam up.
Yep.
Until I settle in and whatnot. But it's good, pushing me outside of my comfort zone to do something.
So at this group, it's there's probably about 40 women on average, 30 to 40 ladies when we meet. And it's like this really pretty like setting. Like there's tablecloths and there's flowers in the center and these, pretty little mirrors and all that. And I'm kind of with you, like never did it cross my mind that, we were going to be doing like centerpieces and all these things, but it's such a great touch. And it allows for other women to bring in their strong suits, like I can sit here and chat your ear off, but
I can't decorate a table.
Nope, I'm not gonna make a centerpiece. Like you got the wrong girl.
That's not my area of expertise.
No, but there are some of the women in that room that do beautiful art and make these centerpieces and just all of these different things. All these different strong suits are all brought together, and it's such a cool thing to see. And been able to like, okay, I know who I'm visiting next time.
Absolutely.
Next time I have a need in that area, I know who I'm going to. So it is such a cool thing.
It was neat. It was a great word from Abby. Fantastic word. And then just the fellowship to follow was wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. So last night at our meeting, we just got to sit around and talk after. Like we were given this beautiful word from one of our pastors at our church. And then we got to sit and chat about it. And it was just great because, like I always picture like my kids standing behind me like, come on, Mom, come on.
Oh, yeah.
And they're tugging on me like, oh, we have to go, or we want to leave. And, we're always like, oh, one more minute. And at these meetings,
it's so
nice to sit there and talk.
It's so nice.
Guilt-free, ladies and gentlemen.
To have conversation with other women.
Yes.
And you're exactly right. I didn't have to look at my phone. I didn't have to check what time it was.
Yep.
I just got to converse with these ladies with like no strings attached.
Yep. It is a cool thing. So we encourage you, if you have not found your group of ladies, go find you a group of ladies there.
Absolutely.
It's a great thing.
Sooner than later.
And if you can't find it around you right away, well, just keep on tuning in.
Keep on trying.
We'll be your group here. We're going to talk through all of that, all of the mom stuff and all the lady stuff. So
absolutely.
So should we wrap this one up today?
Yeah, let's wrap this one up.
All right. So now we are Laura Anderson, Amanda Fulmer, and we are Moms on a Mission. And this is going to wrap up episode 1, and we will see you on the next one.